everybody, this is Overpass Live. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now this is our weekly live stream where we talk about whatever we want to talk about, but I realized before I started the stream today that I don't have my microphone stopped working last week and I don't want to risk it using it again, this expensive piece of whatever. So I was trying different things, so I hope you guys can hear me okay. So if you just let me know whether or not you can hear me fine. I'm using the laptop microphone, which is probably not as good as the other one, but you know, just a lot of times I have a lot of trouble with technical stuff, like in terms of filming and audio and stuff, and it's amazing how quickly microphones go. Microphones last for a little while, and you can never find anything dependable. So that's it's always kind of the stuff to go. But anyway, this is our weekly live stream where we talk about whatever we want to talk about. And this week, I put out 3 videos so far this week for the first, second, and third, getting back into the daily habit, although I won't be putting them out on weekends. So I thought it would just be Monday to Friday. We'll see if we get that going again. And to be honest with you, I've already recorded a few videos for next week. Try a lav mic. Yeah, you know what, Mega Man, a lav mic on a MacBook, I've had so much trouble doing that, right? There's different types you use, but like because it's recording straight into here, I use a lav mic when I do my normal camera, you know, because I can plug it into the audio import. But because a MacBook only has the TRRS thing, it's difficult to find one that works. And when you do, it would work. Sometimes it would work, use an adapter. Sometimes it works, sometimes it wouldn't, through the 3.5-inch thing. But anyway, so anyway, Cord Funk is first one here. Thanks very much. Hey, Cord Funk, how's it going? James, how are you? Mega Man is 6. I think you were 3rd. Let's see. Sparta Clutch says, "Hi Eric, are you going to do another how much money I make with apps like in the past 2 years?" I probably should, because the one that people are looking at, I was making more money than I am now. But we could go through the stats here on the live stream. I've done it a few times on the live stream to show you how far the mighty have fallen. Because then I was making, well, I wasn't making a whole lot, but I was making, you know, decent. And last year I did a how much money I made in 2018, and it was pretty, I think it was like £40,000 for passive income, which would be like a full-time developer job. I mean, not a senior developer, but like a full-time developer job, not a contractor, but it was nice because that was not work that I was doing, it was coming in, and now the revenue has dropped considerably, and I need to get back on that horse. But yeah, I probably will, but we can go through another live stream here too. Hussein Gokas, hey, how's it going? Cord Funk says, sounds a bit echoey, but it's okay. I was going to try to use AirPods, so I've got my AirPods out. I was going to try to use these, and I thought, you know what, I hate the way AirPods look, right? It's one of those things where it's, you know, it's just something that I know they're good, but and they are pretty nice, but it's just, you know, I hate the way they look. The stupid white thing hanging down. So, you know, it's all about the aesthetics. Very shallow, very superficial. Let's see, and yeah, try a lav mic. I'm gonna experiment with lav mics this week. I've got 3 different lav mics, but you know, they work for different, like they work well with the cameras, but I've never been able to get them work on the MacBook going straight in. And I suppose I could try, because I had so much trouble with Macs lately, I could bring in a Windows PC and just use that just for streaming. That might be pretty good. Except every time I would try to show my screen, but yeah, perhaps. I'm overthinking it. Surgeon Lukic, greetings from Denmark. So, you think I have too many cables on my computer, do you, Surgeon? Because you're the one that left, no, was it you? Yeah, it was you who left a comment today saying, I'm tired of seeing all the cables on your desk. Tidy up your desk, Eric. Let's see, Rodrigo says, just got reminded, I forgot to talk to you, Eric. Oh, okay, cool. Were we supposed to talk about something? Oh, because it was supposed to be a quote. Apavelli, hey, Happy New Year. I've enjoyed your videos this week. Thanks. I've got like 4 more film for next week. I'm trying to get, like, the videos don't really, like I said, they're not a big revenue producer, and I know I have like a business coach, and I'm sure he'll say, you know, why spend the time doing that when you should be doing the client work? But it really does help I find it really helps me just motivate me a bit more. If I could do the videos, then at least I know I get that done and I get other stuff done in the day too, as long as I don't just focus on just doing the videos. It's almost like if you read anybody who writes, like a writer who has trouble getting into the writing habit and just getting the flow, a lot of times if they start blogging, it will help because it gets them thinking about stuff. It gets them talking. It gets them from homeostasis that I don't want to get out of bed in the morning to actually doing something. And I think that's been part of my problem over the last year, ever since I stopped doing them regularly, was like I just started to go, oh, and I already did a video about how much I hated 2019. I mean, my sister said, Eric, what are some, my sister, she's practical. She said, what are, because I said, 2019, I'm so glad it's over. I'm so glad, God, it kicks me in the teeth. It kicked me in the teeth at the last week, too. I got like this huge tax bill, like way more than I thought it would be on the last week, the Friday before Christmas. And I had to pay it by the end of the year, and it was, oh God, it was just awful year. And she says, what are some of the good things that happened in 2019? I go, I guess, my kids went to university. There are a few things that happened, but by and large, oh, I'm glad it's gone. I'm glad it's gone. Let's do it. Let's do it. Africa with Edward Kwame Amanyo. I might have to shorten that name, Edward. Greetings from Atububu, Ghana. Hey, how's it going? That's really cool. Shurjan said, yes, way too many cables. If you look back at when I look at back at my older videos, like when I was in the old office or even when I was in my house, like I didn't clean out anything in the back. There would be like Subway wrappers, and I wouldn't notice they were there until I was editing. In fact, twice this week, I realized I had Post-it notes of that I really didn't want to be on the wall because, I mean, they weren't bad. It was just like my to-do list. And I was just like, after I filmed it and everything, I'm like, okay, that's good. And, and I might film like maybe once or twice or mess up a few times. And then I'll go back and check as I'm editing and I realize, oh, those Post-it notes. So I'm trying to, use Final Cut Pro and highlight things out and everything like that. So, let's see. Star News says, would your passive income afford your current life? No, it would not. I mean, it probably would have. I mean, this is one of the things I could kick myself about a little bit because, like, 3 years or 2, 3 years ago, the passive income was enough that I probably didn't have to work. But I was hiring people and I was trying to build up the client work too. So I realized that it was the client work that was helping to pay to grow the company, and the company was growing. And then when the client work slowed down periodically, I had to limit the company again. And then Ear Agent being removed last year, that was a big hit. But it was so it's not enough to afford the current life at the moment. It would be if I wasn't living in England, I think. If I went to some place that was less expensive to live, if I went to some place that was less expensive to live and I cut my expenses, then I wouldn't have to work anymore. But who wants to do that? It's like you have to, I need to. So it's either you either have to advance or retreat. Now, this last year, to be totally honest with you, I did start to look at contracts, thinking I could get a contract in London and easily make $10,000 a month doing that, like just going to work every day, going to work in like a investment bank. Probably pay more than $10,000 a month, to be honest with you, at an investment bank because it was a while ago since I did it. But so I did start to look at those, thinking, maybe I'll just go do that for a while, even though I got all this client stuff. But then I was like, oof, just because it was a bad year doesn't mean I need to, think everything went wrong. It was a bad year for a lot of people. So I kind of made the decision at the end of the year. It's like, okay, do I just give up? Do I retreat or do I advance? And sometimes it could be either way. It could be like, I'm going to take a 6-month contract and just put everything else on hold while I just build up the bank account again. Or do I just go forward? Like, what am I doing wrong? Am I really pursuing the clients as vigorously as I should? Am I really doing a lot? Am I even working on advertising as much as I used to? Right? Since I stopped doing the video every day, I did start to feel like my momentum is gone. So I don't know why I'm going on that. Tanner Mead. Hey Tanner, thanks for that. I have never. What was the tool you said? You said the tool on the comments for today's video. you stop using Photoshop and you start using I forget what it is, but I started looking at that. I knew nothing about it. I was like, all I knew was, and this because I'm old, I thought there's Photoshop and there's GIMP and Canva. So I did upgrade to the pro version of Canva this week as a trial. Dude, it's really good. I've used Canva for years, and it's nice because I can get the team on it. Yeah, I felt so good canceling that Adobe thing. It saves me money, but mainly it was because it was almost like I had this to-do list of things like one of these days I'm gonna learn how to use Photoshop really well, and I've been okay with Photoshop. But over the last year, all I do is resize images, remove backgrounds, and Premiere Pro. So I'm a Final Cut Pro user. I have been for years, but every so often I'll look at After Effects and think, if I went to Premiere Pro, I could do some After Effects stuff, and then I could go out and I could film all these montages when I do the videos, and then I have to stop and think, hang on a second, Eric, nobody is impressed with the montages on your videos. If I can go out, don't you have the Mustang anymore? You're really just filming a bit of scenery, put a little bit of music, and then, let's see. Oh, what did I miss? I thought I saw Mark Curtis on here. Where'd he go? Mark Curtis. Happy New Year's, dude. Happy New Year's, Mark. How are you? Good. Rohit. Hey, Eric. How's it going, Rohit? Lufia. Hello, fans. Hello, Lufia. Let's see. Abhay Poptani says, hey, Eric, what's up? I would like to ask, what is your approximate net profit percentage on revenue? Just want to estimate my expenses. Are you talking about for client work? Well, yeah, obviously, because the net profit for apps would be, well, for our own apps, well, once it's developed, it's out there, and then that comes in. Actually, just so you guys don't think that I think I will show you guys my daily revenue, although it hasn't been updated in a while. Let me just go. My daily revenue. In fact, I don't think it's been updated since Rowena's been on holiday. Yeah, here we go. So I'm going to share my screen here. So this is my daily revenue for the last year, and every day Rowena will go in and update this. So if you look, just so you guys know, when we talk about the passive revenue, and whether or not I could afford to live off that, no, I couldn't. But if I got a part-time job like at McDonald's or something, maybe I could make that a few nights, but I don't. So it's still good that it comes in. When my big app was removed, I was glad that I had more than just that, right? When we have the big discussion about whether or not you should just one app or many, it's difficult to do many because Apple will just clamp down on you. So I had to remove a lot of my apps from Apple. Google Play, they have the repetitive content policy, but you still do a lot of apps on Google Play. But when they removed my big one, it was such a boon. So like if you look at this, it's breaking down by and it only goes up to the 22nd because that's when Rowena went on holiday for the Christmas period. So, but yeah, we can see like ad mile 26 pounds, 86p on Google. My Google Play purchases are actually they're kind of sparse, as you can't tell. They were a lot better, and then iTunes, which is 5-6 pounds. Let's go back to the good old days of June. Let's go back 6, and then we're looking at 100 pounds. And the reason it's highlighted red is because we had like this logic that says if it's between 150 and 180 a day, then it's white. If it's over that, it's green. If it's below that, it's red. And one of them was yellow. Just so that we could keep track of that. But then after a while, they all started and then we kind of lowered the expectations. But here you can see back when the big app was there, and a few others. If we go back to January at the start of the year, well, I talk about how in 2019 I took a dive. Right, it was kind of a lot. This was a lot of it. It was big app being removed for a while, getting it reinstated. I did get it reinstated, but then they suspended the pro version again, and it took so long to get it reinstated. I thought, okay, I'm just going to hold off, and I haven't actually gone through and put it back. But appealing does work, and there was lots of things at play there. So that's kind of where we are with that. Just so that when we do talk about revenue, you guys don't think that You don't think I'm like super successful, but also I want you to know that it is possible to, it's still possible today in 2020. Well, at least in December of 2019, to be able to make money with apps. It is still possible, so it's worth pursuing. Um, let's see. But so and then, so that's what we talk about. So Abhay, we were talking about that in terms of my my net profit on client work. That's something I don't want to go into because it changes based on the project. A lot of times you have to add a buffer there so that you can handle different expenses. You have your own expenses, you have the company expenses, you have scope creep expenses that come up, you have lots of stuff that comes up, and a lot of times that's why that's one time I told the client what my markup was, and he was shocked. He was shocked because he thought it would be like 10% or whatever. I said no, it was higher, but then it was like he didn't realize how much work I was doing in the background. It wasn't just like a get someone else to code it and then I mark it up. It was like, dude, just being on top of it all the time, it's a constant thing, and there's so much of my work that goes into it, which doesn't necessarily figure into the quote that we give, but it has to be paid for somehow, and that's why I don't like to disclose those numbers so much. Let's see. Lufia says, "Nice to see you so active, Eric." That's it, active, Eric. I'm gonna get a Hulk Hogan T-shirt and tear it off in one of these live streams one day. That doesn't show my age. We're gonna go active this year. Nice to see you so active and Happy New Year. I am doing some programming .NET Core Angular. Oh, cool. Does .NET and Angular go together? So equals C smile at the previous comment. Weird typo. Yeah, no, I think it's like I said, the video I did, I wasn't quite sure if I should do it. I was thinking I've been wanting to get back into doing the 5 days a week, or actually I want to get back to do 7 days a week again, just because, because I like to. It's the one thing I like to do in the day, and in order to go for 5 days a week or 7 days a week, then that means I have to stop. One of the things, it was my New Year's resolution in 2017 to do daily videos, and I thought I could do this. Casey Neistat could do it. I could do it. And then I realized 5 days in, I couldn't do it. I couldn't think of anything else to talk about. And then I realized if you set yourself that deadline, then you stop becoming a perfectionist. And sometimes the videos are going to be okay. Sometimes it's going to suck. Sometimes I'm talking about a topic that I already talked about, right? And I'm pretty sure I did. And other people pointed out, but I'm thinking, well, we're going to talk about it again. We're going to talk about it again because I won't watch the previous one. I'm not like it's just my opinion may or may not have changed. And that was one which we did for yesterday's video. Somebody said, "Yeah, this was you already did this one on daily overpass number 116," and I was like, "Okay, yeah, maybe I did." Star News says you have to move somewhere else, get away from the stress, work less, spend less, enjoy nature. Recommend, just ponder it. I am gonna. Yeah, I know. I need to move. This month, I'm doing my first. For years. Years. We're talking like decades. I talk about one of these days I'm going to take one of these cheap flights and go someplace and I want to go someplace where I've never been before. But you've always had small. The kids have been small. There's always been work. There's always been stuff. So a couple months ago, I booked my trip to Bratislava in Slovakia in a couple weeks, and it's just like a weekend. I'm just going to go. I went and because I'm going the cheap route. I'm like. I'm not doing any frills like that Ryanair, the cheapest one. Like I'm gonna get whatever seat you get, no checked-in luggage, Airbnb. I just want to do like totally like let's see how little I can spend doing this, and I'm really looking forward to it. So let's see. Rodrigo, only 10,000 a month. Yeah, as a contractor in London, like in the investment banks, it's pretty good. This is why I have to keep reminding myself. Rodrigo. And it was. That's how much I was making when I was working as a contractor, like as a developer contractor. But I've worked long hours too. But yeah, you can make a lot in London, and you still can. That was one thing in early December when I started to freak out a little bit. I started to look at what's available. Let's just check this. Let's do a safety test here. Let's find out how secure this safety net is. Let's check it for some stress. So my CV I hadn't updated my CV in like 5 years, and I sent it out. And yeah, I tell you what, the next day, it used to be like the next day the phone would be ringing off the hook, and it was like 3 days before the phone rang at all. I was like, oh my God, maybe the safety net's gone. Maybe I don't have the chops anymore. Maybe I'm all talk and no. Yeah. So, but eventually I did get some stuff come through, but I didn't take it. It was kind of like, when you realize, okay, there it is. There's my exit. There's my, go out there and just leave everything else behind. No more videos. No more, client work. But in the end, it was like, dude, you're panicking, Eric. You're panicking, Eric, and it's not going to help anybody. Lufia, so what are your plans for 2020? Do you have your own app in mind? I do have a few. I have a few app ideas that I want to do, and it's that finding the time to do them. It seems like so Lufia. I know your real name. We talked on LinkedIn, but I can't remember. One of the things there's a couple things I need to do this year. First, I need to get better at prospecting. So, like 3 years ago, I read this book, Fanatical Prospect. I'm rereading it, making highlights and everything. I've read this several times, and I'm really bad at prospecting. Just getting out there and getting the clients in. I got to focus more on bringing more work in, so that we can expand. But then there's also our own applications, because that's ultimately, if you had to choose between doing your own apps and making the passive income from that and doing client work, do the passive stuff. I mean, in fact, most of your clients, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to put a product out there that makes them money even when they're not doing anything, right? But when you have a product-based service, which is like the apps, which people are buying your product. You're either making money through advertising or in-app purchases or subscriptions, and then you have your service-based business, which is like, I gotta be there, I gotta make the call, I gotta make sure everything gets done on time. I gotta make sure it's done before Tuesday at 3 o'clock or whatever. There's that side of things, and I'm trying to mix both of them together because, because you have to make sure that the bills are paid to make sure everything's done. But ultimately, we need to get more apps out there. So there's a lot of stuff. Yes, I definitely do want to do, But yeah, I do have some apps in mind. I think I talked about some of them on the previous live stream. Funk said, I was going to drop Creative Suite, but then I started using Adobe XD this week, but it's expensive. Used Figma before, which is awesome and free. Yeah, Funk, we were because I was using the Adobe Suite. I was using the Adobe Suite because my designer, she needed it, and I had it too because I thought, well, I might as well have it. I'll learn Premiere Pro. And we had the Adobe Suite. And I had the business account, which was nice. Well, the business account's nice because you could grant and remove licenses. But like if you remove a license, you still have that license for the whole year. You're still paying for it. But you can say, I'm going to give it to this person, and then when they leave, I'll give it to somebody else. But it's that whole renewal thing. And a lot of the tools are really, really good. But for me, I always find them overcomplicated. I find them really difficult to use, like user interface-wise. And we started using Adobe Spark, which is like Canva. Although not nearly as good. But it was because we're on a team account, we could share assets between each other and everything, and that was cool. So when I called to cancel it, and it was like I had like another 10 days on it, so which I thought I'll just go in and use up all my stock credits. I was getting like 40 stock images a month, right? I don't know how they saw me coming when they sold me that. Right, so I thought I'll just go use all of it, so we get all the stock images, and then we can use them on future projects. No, they canceled it immediately there. It was like, and I thought, okay, I'm not going to wait 10 days and potentially forget before the renewal date. So that kind of stuff I don't like. So Rodrigo, were you paying for it for just you? No, I was paying it for me and Sandy and Rowena, and it was, and of course it's the business one. Having a business account, it's almost like if you've ever hired a photographer, like I got married back in 1993. And I remember a guy, somebody had a friend who was a photographer. He showed up. He was just going to take photos for just to help us out because we had no money. And then when he found out it was a wedding, then he wanted to charge us a huge amount because it's a wedding, and weddings cost more, right? It's gonna be the same thing, but if it's for a wedding, we're gonna charge more. Same with business, right? I would try to use video blocks and on the video, so I thought I'd get stock images or stock video for it. And once they found out that Overpass was a company, then they wanted to. I couldn't pay the £20 a month. They wanted to charge me per video, per it was completely different. And even though I was like, dude, Overpass, it's just me. It's just me. I'm still doing the same thing as somebody else would be, but and that's the same with Adobe. It costs more for the business account. Azimuth PH is here. Hey, Azimuth. Tanner Mead says, glad you got introduced to Affinity. That's what it was, Affinity instead of Adobe. And on another note, how much do you usually use Flutter these days? We have a Flutter. So lately, to be honest with you, Tanner, I've been using Flutter to troubleshoot issues. So we have like an app that we're doing in Flutter that's communicating with an API, which is in it's in an old server format. So like a lot of times the developer will come back to me and says, this isn't working. I can't figure out what it is. And which is like, I'm getting a little bit annoyed because problem solving skills is part of it. You cannot be a software developer if you can't if you're the kind of person that says it's not working, I don't know why, then you should not be doing code ever, right? You dig and you dig and you dig, right? You dig until you figure out what it is. And if anybody ever comes to me and says, can you ask them why it's not working? Their server's not working. Can you tell me why? And I'm like, well, what do you mean it's not working? What kind of error messages are you getting? Or what kind of what response are you expecting from the server, and what are you getting? That kind of stuff. It's not working. It's not working. And I'm getting really annoyed with this developer and the company that I'm working with on this, who has a lot of really other good developers. They're like going, no, he's okay. He's really good. I'm like, dude, I'm solving all these problems. So I'm doing a lot of that, Tanner. I'm doing a lot of that in Flutter. I'm launching Flutter, trying to figure out, building it myself, right? Because I was like, can you send me the code? Oh, I went home for the day. So I'm building my own Flutter application to show him how it works. And it's just, it's kind of like that. It's like I'm building proof of concepts mostly, as opposed to doing like a full-fledged soup to nuts application. Cordfunk says, yo, Eric, been thinking lately about doing any SaaS products lately, other than the SEO thing from a while back. So yeah, I haven't thought of any SaaS projects. I mean, I think lately I've been thinking I need to get. I'm going to bring more client work on. So we do have a few SaaS projects for clients, but none for myself. And I think it's something that we definitely need to do. And again, it's like once you see, there's so. I mean, I hate to talk about passive income because I'm so sick of hearing about on the Instagram and all this people saying, you just make passive income. You just sit by and watch the money roll in. But it's true. I mean, it's not like a huge amount, but it does come in, and it's so much nicer to get that passive income than the active income. And through a SaaS website, you could do that. You have one product, and people are paying to use it each month. But it's trying to find that niche and where people would what they would pay for. But actually, yeah, I do have a SaaS idea in mind. I do. There's something that I want to build on but I'm not going to say what it is because, because first of all, okay, I'm not going to say what it is now because I don't want anybody to tell me it's a stupid idea. At the same time, I don't want anyone to tell me that it's God, I hate to say it. I don't want anyone to steal my idea. I hate to say that because I've heard that so often but yeah. Let's see. Lufia says, and how did you get your first client? My first client was my first client. So I had clients as a contractor. If you're a contractor, I mean, technically they're your clients, but you will work on their site, right? So you're still, and you don't have to do any marketing because you have a recruiter who does all that for you, and they take a cut, right? So they go out and do it. But my first client, where they actually came across my website, contacted the company, I went in and met with them, was it was doing a lot of web stuff. So I was doing a lot of SEO work. We were doing a lot of make sure we had the location pages right. So if somebody did app developer in Oxfordshire or app developer in Oxford, it should come up with my website should rank well because we have like a bunch of pages which are targeting those keywords, but it also was putting out a lot of content there too. So when somebody did contact me, it was like going in there and total imposter syndrome, total just go in there, put my suit on, went and met with them. I was still working a contract. I was working a contract, so I had to take the day off so I could go meet with this potential client, and everything was like, yeah, of course we could do that. I mean, luckily, I did have a bunch of apps out there at the time, so it was like I had released apps. So it wasn't like I was just saying, yeah, we could do this. Like previously, when I tried to get clients, I was saying, yeah, we could build software for you, but I didn't really have anything to show them. I just had my own skills and nothing really to show. But this was one where they were looking for an app developer, and I had apps. I had apps on the App Store. I had apps that were actually bringing in. Well, they were getting downloads, so they were able to see those. They had like a portfolio was in place, which I never really had before, which sounds stupid, but like working in an investment bank, everything was like the code was with them. So when I went to go meet with them, it was almost like I was able to make the case that you could get another software, you get a bigger company, you could get a better, you get a bigger company than Overpass, which would not be difficult. But you get a bigger company than Overpass, but I know apps, right? And if you want an app done right, we could do it for you. And the big thing that clinched it was we had a designer at the time that I asked him to do some initial designs, and he sent some stuff. So he sent them through to me, and we sent it to him, and they loved it. They loved the designs he did. And then he went flaky and disappeared, and I think I talked about last week the stress of all that. It was very, very difficult. Rodrigo says, everyone hit the like button. Yeah, smash that like button. Smash the like button. Appabelly says, what is your favorite IDE tool to use? What was my favorite IDE to use? It used to be WebStorm. WebStorm used to be it. So I use it's not Android Studio, and it's definitely not Xcode. Xcode is like never made sense to me. Like you click on a file, sometimes it opens in its own window, sometimes it stays in its own window. Like Xcode felt like they were just like, for some reason they're just trying to jam everything in there, and there's a lot of functionality in Xcode, but it's nowhere where it doesn't make any sense to me. I suppose if you're like a hardcore Swift or Objective-C developer, you might disagree with me. But with and even with Android Studio, which is way better than Eclipse, Android Studio was like taking the JetBrains tools, taking IntelliJ, and making it. And because I was a Visual Studio guy, and I would use ReSharper in Visual Studio, and it was like the same keyboard shortcuts, everything, the same familiar layout, everything. So Android Studio was way better than Eclipse. But even then, I like the fluidity of Sublime Text for a while. For a while, I just used the Sublime Text, and then I moved to WebStorm, which was cool. And WebStorm I could use with other languages. So even though it's for I was using it a lot for Angular, I was also able to use it for Lua, so you're doing Corona stuff in it. But now it's Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code that's gonna get in, because Visual Studio Code works really well for Flutter. Android Studio does too, but it works really well for Flutter. The only thing is now, why can't we just standardize on screens on shortcuts? That's the one thing when you move from one tool to another. It's is Command D going to be duplicate the line, or is it going to be looking for the next use of that word? So that kind of stuff always throws me a little bit. But at the moment, I think it's probably Visual Studio Code, which, dude, if you told me that I would be back using a derivative of Visual Studio like 5 years ago, I think, I couldn't believe it. Visual Studio used to be my favorite tool back in the day, as a .NET developer, obviously. But obviously. And what else? Oh, so this week I was using VS Code to do SQL Server work. So we have a SQL Server project, which I'm on a Mac. And everything, the only reason I'm on a Mac is for iPhone development. I'm not a Mac guy. I'm not like dude, man, it's so much better. I don't sit there and wear my designer glasses and sit around drinking lattes and talk about how, dude, it's just the interface is just so elegant, right? Now I'm just like, I just want a tool to use in the Mac. It actually is pretty nice, but it took me a while to get used to it, and I hated it at first. And it's expensive, and at the moment it's making this huge loud noise. But what am I talking? Why am I going off on that? Oh, but one of the things is you can't use the Microsoft tools you used to use before. So I miss Visio. I miss SQL Server Management Studio. It's not that I use SQL Server that much, but when I do, I prefer to have that. So I've been using VS Code, which doesn't work nearly as well. But how's that for BizYG's here? Hey, BizYG, what's up for? I'm going off on tangents. I'm just gonna be old man Eric. I'm just saying I should drink when I do this. I should just like get like sloshed and just moan about technologies. Another thing about Max.net. Let's see. Ruchin says in the Google Play Store, if an app costs $1 and 100 people bought the app, how much money do we actually get to keep after tax and Play Store cut? So the Play Store cut will be 30%. The tax will depend on where they're coming from. This is the difficult thing about the tax, Ruchin, because like my accountant will go through and he'll like calculate the tax for all the different locations, like where it comes from. So like VAT in the UK is 20%. In other countries, it's different. So he'll have to go through. So every month, I have to go through the Google Play Developer Console and do the financial reports and send those to him. And he moans and he does it. So it's and I don't even know what it is, but it's roughly around, I think, 15%. So but that's why. But the nice thing about having an app, Ruchin, in the Play Store, and you get 100 people buy the app, is that you have a scalable product. So if you're not making enough from it, you just need to sell more, right? So get how many people doing it. Like I don't know how you could say if an app costs $1 and 100 people bought it, and you only get, let's say you only get $60 out of that 100, then what's the point, right? Well, it's still $60. Like you need to sell more, right? You don't need to like do more. You just need to sell more. You need to get more people in there looking at it. Apple Valley says, I'm moving from Spring Boot for my enterprise web development. Spring Boot? I don't know. I've never heard of that one. There's so many new tools out there. Like even not knowing about, I can't remember the name. What was it, Tanner? Affinity. I didn't even know about Affinity. I was thinking about going back to GIMP. That old nasty GIMP. It's probably better now. But let's see. Niraj. Hey Eric, nice to see you. Nice to see you, Niraj. Niraj, you sent me a video I need to have a look at. Sorry, I don't think I have done yet. It was, for some reason, when I got the Skype, I wasn't able to open YouTube. Julio Cruz says, hey Eric, I like that the daily videos are back. Yeah, Julio, there's not going to be one tomorrow. I'm going to try to do 5 days a week. So I've already got one for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week. I haven't done the thumbnails yet, but I have recorded them. And then I just need to do one for Friday. I'm going to try to get ahead a little bit. Now, the downside of getting ahead is that I usually end up giving it all away on the live stream. Like I was like, I got a really good topic for Thursday. I'll just tell you now. So I'm just trying to get, I'm really trying to get momentum back. So like if you don't feel like watching one day, give it a miss. You'll find, But it's just, it's never been like I stopped because I ran out of things to say. I mean, if you ever watch a live stream and see me ramble on, you know that, dude, I have a lot of opinions about stuff. But it was more of just, like I said, I think it was just a funk. Somebody saying, you know what, I think you should do less videos. I think you should do less, and then, spend more time doing like tutorials or whatever. And at the end, it was like, when you stop doing it, it's Parkinson's law, right? It's Parkinson's law, which says work expands to fit the amount of time that you give it. So if you say, I need to get this done in the next hour, and if you think it's a one-day task, you say, I have to get it done in the next hour, you will find a way to get it done. It won't be pretty, but it'll get done, right? Whereas if you say, I'm going to get this one-day task done sometime in the next 2 weeks, it's going to take 2 weeks, right? And it was the same I found when I started doing the daily videos. It was like, that forced me to stop being a perfectionist. That forced me to start just cranking them out, just getting stuff out there. And it's the same with apps. Right? A lot of people will say, you should add this feature. You should do this. You should do that. You should do this. I'm like, yeah, dude, I know, but you also have to go live. Right? You have to go live. You have to get something out there because otherwise, it's not going to happen. And I know when I work on a project, there are times where I will try so hard to get as much done in the day, because I know that once I stop, I might not pick it up again. I might not get into that same mind space, which is really hard when you get interrupted a lot as a developer, because you, like, when you're in the flow, when you're in the actual doing it, you have to like turn off all distractions, because someone will come in and just say, if I could just have just 1 second of your time, I just need to ask you this one thing, and then you're like, next thing you know, you're going off this other tangent, and you're going back to it, and you're like, where was I? What was that? It's really hard to get into the flow. It's something that I think a lot of people don't quite understand. I bet designers get it. I bet designers get it there into the flow. But like, as developers, like, we actually got like mathematical problems, and like, you have something on the tip of your brain, and you know that it's there. And why am I talking about this? Oh yeah, the daily videos are back. John Mullen, hey John, how's it going? Happy New Year, Eric. Looking forward to at least 365 videos this year. I think so we're gonna do 5 a week plus a live stream. So I guess that'll be 6 a week, right? So, and then eventually maybe we could do it a bit more. And it's always difficult to commit to it. And I'm trying to fight the urge to say I'm going to try to do 5 a week, because then that's not commitment. That's like, and that's normally what I'll do. I was like, yeah, we're going to give it a try. But yeah, 5 days a week. But the reason I'm not calling it the daily overpass again is because, just in case we don't do it, like in case I miss a day, or if I get hit by a bus, as developers do. Funk says Figma is really minimalistic and is really awesome for UI design. The XD actually has a really simple and nice UI, and I can preview the design on my phone in real time. I tried to learn XD, Funk, and I don't know, I found it difficult. Like, because I use Balsamic, and I was trying to equate it with Balsamic, where it's like, I'll bring up a button, put the button on there, put the list view, put all this stuff, and with XD, it seemed like I didn't have any predefined components there, or maybe it was just me. But my designer, Sandy, she got really good at it, and it was very impressive to be able to give a client an XD clickable prototype before anything had actually been done. Hidayat Ulakan, hey, how's it going? Lufia, and which books do you recommend business-wise? My last question. I think I talk about this on an upcoming video. My favorite business books are... The best one ever is... Oh, I should find it. The best one you could read for a small business, and I didn't really hear much about it. I mean, the 7 Habits and for successful people and all that stuff. But it would be... Where is it? I had it on my desk like a minute ago. Would be the E-Myth Revisited. I'm trying to show it to you. Oh, here it is. As a prop. So the E-Myth Revisited, this is my copy. I've read it several times through, and every so often I'll read it again, because it's a lot about, it's by Michael Gerber. It's all about setting up systems, right? So you're talking about reproducible systems. Like, the last thing you want as a business owner is to have the most talented people. I mean, you do want the most talented people, but that's not reproducible. Like, I've worked at a lot of places, actually this sounds conceited, but I've worked at places where I left, they really struggled because I was very talented, because I had a lot of knowledge, which I gained, but it wasn't systematized. Like, I wasn't writing procedures saying this is how this should work, this should work. I was able to do things on the fly, which is really good skill to have. If somebody says, this thing's not working, we can't figure out why, and you have to look at like all the different things, and you're using things like, back at this job I did this thing, back at this job, and you could go through and fix it. That's really, really good, and it's a really high-paying skill. Now, if you're paying the people, you don't necessarily want the high-paid skills. You want the stuff that's reproducible. So, and they use the McDonald's model there on the E-Myth, where he talks about you go to McDonald's anywhere, you get the same experience as you go. All right, the same client experience, the same, they could get people with people in, and you have the low-skilled labor that could come in, where you could teach them within a few days, and then they're working, they're doing it, and you have a high turnover, but that's fine because whatever. And when you're doing a software business, it's a lot more difficult because everything is custom. Everything's custom, so like you need somebody with a high level of skill, but not everybody needs to have a high level of skill, right? Some of the stuff just needs to be, learn how to do this and put it out there. I don't need the So like when emails get answered, they don't all have to be answered by me. I mean, so can we get somebody else to answer the emails? Can we get somebody else to answer the phone? Can we do that? So putting those processes in place, and I spent a lot of time writing processes based on that book. That book probably had the most impact on my way of thinking than any other. And a lot of times when I do something, and somebody from the outside can't figure out why I'm hung up about something has to be a reproducible process, but it's mainly because I want this to be something that can scale at some point. And whereas, yeah, it would be easy just to it was the same with code, right? You're writing code in a modular format so that you're thinking about the things that come up in the future and how you could do that. Or you could just go through and just spaghetti code it. There, it's done. There you go. Your code. There's your app, and nothing's maintainable. Like nothing's, but you have to think about systems and modularization and how when you have to swap one bit out later and do something else and all that kind of stuff. So let's see. XD, not Figma. Okay. Julio Cruz says, have you done any AR projects for any of your clients? No, I haven't. Do you have any advice on how to start learning it? First, iOS or Android courses? Thanks. I think there's a Unity plugin for AR. Is there? I've never done any. I did some looking into when Cardboard came out. I was playing around with 3JS, and 3JS had had that support for it on JavaScript, but I never did anything with it. Was it AR? No, it wasn't AR. That was VR. But no, I haven't done anything with it yet, unfortunately, Julio. Who else has? Okay, we got a bunch of people. We got 33 people here on the chat now. Who out there has done AR, augmented reality? Rifat, thanks very much for the pounds. Cool. Let's see. Corfunk says, when people are digging for gold, sell shovels. Yep. Emirkan Erkul says, how can I challenge other apps? I don't have any money. You could look. You know what an app with money does? An app with money is able to put advertisements out there. They're able to get in front of people who don't want to see it. Right? You have to get in front of people who do want to see it, I guess. You could do something through social media. You could do try to get it in front of enough people. Try to get because even if you did have the money, let's say you have your apps out there on the App Store, and I gave you a budget of £5,000 to promote it. What would you do? And are you absolutely sure that would be the best use of your money? Because what would you do if you didn't have that? And what would be the difference between the two of those? So, like for me, I think if I had a £5,000 budget to promote one of my apps, I'd probably do Facebook ads. And I'm sure that after a while I'm thinking I'd be changing those Facebook ads out a lot because that's working, that's not working. And I'd probably learn something in the course of the thing where I could think maybe rather than sending people straight to my app, I want to send them to an email list or get them to like my Facebook page because then I can start sending more stuff to them. Or maybe my boosted post won't just be, hey, download this app. Maybe it'll be a question or a quiz or something like that. So that gets more people to use it organically and it spreads and all that kind of stuff in the learning process. So, American, I think look at it as if, like, what would you do if you did have that budget, and how could you do it without the budget? I think, and I know that sounds really superficial and but like a lot of the stuff, like my apps, like I was doing everything through social media and trying to get out there in front of me, and I was like annoying people on Twitter. I wasn't annoying them, but I was like when somebody would mention something, try to get into that conversation with them and get them to start using it. I was writing articles on our blog and on LinkedIn and on Facebook, which a lot of them weren't being seen, but I did get featured on the front page of Gizmodo once because and that got so because the app had a bit of sex appeal and that was something they could do. So if you were going to go to me, okay, so like if somebody came to me and said, can you feature my app on your channel? And I get that question a lot, and something I don't want to do. And then I say, okay, show me the app, and it's something that's like, it's like a runner game or something like that. It's not something that's really like I would think that anybody else would find interesting, then I might not do it. But if it was something like Fake App was one where you couldn't help but not tell other people about it, right? You just, it was social in its very nature. And I know you can't do that with every single app. Okay, yeah, sometimes I just talk too much, and I apologize. That's what the two biggest criticisms I have on the channel for all my videos are: you talk too much, and the video's too long. So try not to talk so much. I'll try to keep my voice down. Tanner Mead says, do you think Firebase is worth the price for both small and scaled projects? I think for small, the reason why so many people use it is because for small projects, it's free for it's really generous free tier. But when you start getting into something that downloads a lot of data, it does get very expensive. You have the free plan and you have the Blaze is the Blaze plan, which is like $25 a month. But if you reach the limits on that, then you're talking about the scale goes off, and you have to be really careful about how you use that data, because that's the push notifications are one thing. Right? I think you get like 1 million push notifications a month, but it's the downloading the data. It's we had one that was the developers were doing it where it was we had some process. So here's what we did. We had this project where we had a Linux server, Firebase database, real-time database, and the Linux server would perform calculations on it by calling it and doing the calculations on the Firebase server. But in order to do that, I had to download the entire node tree on an hourly basis, redo the calculations, and then update them. So it was it didn't make sense. Now, if they'd done it in a cloud function, which it would have been very much similar code because it's almost based on Node, then you wouldn't have had that download. So a lot of that stuff could be done in cloud functions, and it was just that. It was that would have, when we started to see those huge costs of hosting come out of that, it was shocking. It was oh my God. So yeah, I mean it can be, but I think if you're going to use Firebase, you have to think about how much data are the users downloading. Right? We had one where it was the entire database was being downloaded onto each phone and onto each device, and that was a huge amount. And hosting images, forget about it. We were crossing cloud stuff. We were hosting images on AWS S3, and the real-time database was in Firebase. Whereas Firebase does have the you could host the images on Firebase, but the download costs were so expensive. Niraj, thank you very much for the. Is it a tip? Because I really appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see. Emerkan Erkul says on learning English, learn English word really hard. I'm sorry. Did I? How could I challenge other apps on learn English word? Okay. How can you challenge on learn? Sorry. So I would look at backlinks. Backlinks will be the one thing you can't. Backlinks and getting downloads, right? That's going to be the one thing. And if you could somehow get your users to leave a review that says the keywords "learn English," like if you were to say, "Please leave us a review and tell us how much you enjoy learning English," right? Then it would be, first of all, it wouldn't be just a give me something. It would be show the world how much you love to learn English, and then hopefully get them to say "learn English" in the review. I've tried that. I wasn't necessarily successful, but I would be that would be that would be the same thing I would try again today. Let's see, yeah, Xcode, code for Fist. So, by the way, if you're new to the live stream, a lot of times if you ask a question, it might be a while before I get to it. You can see where I am in the comments. I'm going line by line, and I try to answer every single question. And I don't know how sustainable that's going to be in the future, but we're going to keep doing it because I don't know. Because I feel like if somebody asks a question, it deserves to get an answer. And I appreciate you guys being here. Fist007, hey, how's it going? He's here. Mega Man 2016 says smash the like button. Hidiat Ullah Khan says Android Studio FTW. FTW means what? What does FTW mean? Should I know that? Boy, it might just FTW. Let's see. Somebody tell me what FTW means. Let's see. Where was I? Okay. Yao Johnny's here. Yao Johnny. Happy New Year, everyone. Core function VS Code is awesome. I think it's an Electron app. Yeah, I think it is an Electron app. Like everyone keeps telling me that, but it is really cool. And I think it's just because it's simple. It's just, you know, text editor. Text. It's like that's what I like about WebStorm. I spilled coffee. WebStorm's a lot like. Excuse me, guys. Getting too excited talking about WebStorm. Oh, calm down, man. So, but yeah. Appavelli says started using VS Code for Java project. Oh, cool. Fist007, you didn't tell how many subscribers from Algeria, though. Oh, how many subscribers do we have from Algeria? How do I tell? Let's see. Core Fun. If we're talking about the Mac, the Finder app is so shit that I use the terminal to navigate the file system. That's true. Finder is just a dumb. It's just a dumb thing. There's some things on the Mac are just for years. Okay, I'm gonna go about the Mac again. That's why I should start drinking. I should start like heavy drinking on live stream. So the whole Mac thing. I'm so sick of people saying, you know what, it just works. They just do everything. They're craftsmen, those people at Apple. They just make sure everything just works, right? And as a developer, you get an error, and it's like error number 50, right? What could it be? Could be anything. I don't care if you know what the error code message means. You're trying to troubleshoot something, and like you get nothing there. So whereas in Windows, you would have some ridiculous GUID that you have to follow through, but at least you could follow through on it. You could Google it. Let's see. Neeraj says, nice to see you again. Can you give a shout out to my channel? Yeah, Neeraj started a new channel. Yeah, so he sent me a video the other day. We'll have to look at that. Ramu says, hello, sir. What are your thoughts on Flutter in 2020? I think it's gonna continue to grow. Somebody asked me that in a comment the other day. They said, do you think it's worth becoming an Android developer in 2020? And I thought, wow, it's like he was setting me up for a YouTube topic, right? And then I looked at it and thought, I think the same guy asked me about the same thing in 2019. So it was, but yeah, so I could do a video called My Thoughts on Flutter in 2020, and it would get lots of views because I use 2020 in it, and that's kind of like, I guess, a trick people use. But I think it's going to continue to grow. I think we're still at the beginning of Flutter. I think it's, we have that one language that does all of it. That's really the appeal of it. And then when we get to the bit, so we're doing a Flutter application. We're doing a few Flutter applications for clients. And one of the nice thing is, because with Hummingbird, I'm interested to see how easy it's going to be to transfer that to web. Of course, if we did Ionic, it'd be really easy to transfer it to web. But let's see. Let's see. Rodrigo says, "Hey, GIMP is not old. GIMP is awesome and free." You know what? Yeah, I guess. All right. I think I was using GIMP. Son, I was using GIMP back in 2002. I think I was using it back in 2002. Robert Barron says, Eric, do you guys use React Native in any of your projects? Your opinion? We do use it. We use it in quite a few projects. So, my opinion is not necessarily good. So, I don't personally code a lot on React Native, but every time I see to compile a React Native program, program. What am I, a civilian? I'm a developer. Program. Whenever I try to compile the React Native, it seems like I'm always missing a dependency. So I'll pull it down so the developers say, okay, it's good. They'll try to send me an APK saying, okay, there you go, everything's done. Check over the APK. And I was like, no. I don't want an APK. I want the code. I want to check through the code and everything, and then I'll take it through and I'll try to just go through and compile it. So I'll do whatever. What is it? RN. Oh, I can't remember now. But it seems like whatever it is, I'll run so I'll download it, I'll do npm install, I'll see what packages we're missing, I'll run something through, and I realize that I'm missing some dependency is wrong. So, and that's one of the things that if you ever get other developers to do your code for you or do an app for you, make sure you compile it yourself, because that's when you find out that you're missing files, you're missing your package.json has not been, things haven't been added to it with the save and everything like that. But but I do think, like, as a technology, I think it works really well. But for me, like, it's the same with Ionic. Is that every time I use it, it seems like I've got loads of dependencies. It's like built on a foundation, on a foundation, on a foundation. Especially if you use a lot of plugins. But that's, that's I mean, ideally, the package.json would be locked, and the version would be like controlled. But I do. I mean, again, in the end, it's one of these things that as developers we could talk about which is better. I can remember when somebody said, when PHP was still fairly new, somebody in our office, and this was back in, this may have been back in 2000, like before 2000. That was what he said. Hey, have you seen PHP? PHP could kick ASP's ass, man. It's so powerful, right? And we were talking about these technologies like we were talking about martial arts masters, or like martial arts, like, PHP is way more powerful than ASP. But in the end, to the end user, they can't really tell the difference. So I think if you can't, the React Native is good because it's cross-platform, right? You get something out there cross-platform, and it's not 100% web view. I mean, it is part. I mean, it's part web view and part, components and all that stuff. And so I'm being really very willy-nilly about it. But if I had to choose between, if I had to choose between native, doing two apps native or React Native, I would go React Native because it would save you money. You'd be able to do something for both of the platforms at the same time. If I had to choose between Ionic and React Native, I'd probably go, and we didn't need a PWA, I would probably go React Native. If I had to choose between React Native and Flutter, I'd go Flutter. But that's just my thing. It all depends. Like, one of the things, like if I have a client come to me with a project and I'm trying to think of what technology to use, one of the first things I'll do is I'll see what plugins are available. So if it's like they need something that uses always on, like let's say they have like location tracking, right? If they want something with location tracking, I'll go through and find out, make sure, check to see if there's a package available or a plugin available, and that it's fairly recent, and that I'm not, just, and take a look at the issues that it has and all that kind of stuff, just before we decide to go all that way, because it's bitten me before where we have that, where we have like an unupdated plugin. But thanks for that, Robert. Rodrigo says GIMP 2.10 latest is beautiful, works, doesn't crash, and is free. Okay, sorry, Rodrigo. Sorry to talk about GIMP, but I'm gonna be a God, I can't remember the name. What was it called? It was called Affinity. I'm gonna be an Affinity man now. That's my new thing. I learned about it an hour ago, but yes, my new thing. Let's see. What was I? Mega Man says, I use GIMP and Inkscape. Oh, Inkscape's what I did the Earspy logo in. Yeah, that was a while ago. And soon to be used DaVinci Resolve because they are free. They work great, though. Musa says, hello, Eric. Great comment. Thanks very much, Musa. I hope you're still around. I'm sorry, it's taking me a while to get to these ones. Mega Man says, hey, Eric, for your native iOS apps, do you use storyboards of the or the code UI programmatically? I use the code UI programmatically. I don't like storyboards, but it is easy. I suppose. Yeah, I don't like storyboards. I don't like storyboards, and I don't like the XML in, and I don't like the nib files, and I don't like the XML in Android. I mean, it's okay, but it's like you're going from one technology to another, and I prefer just have everything done in code. Personally, I know it takes longer to compile, especially with native. Musa says kindly, is Flutter worth it? I think so. Yeah, I think it. I don't think Flutter's gonna be going away anytime soon. I played this back in 5 years. Remember when everybody used to use Flutter? But yeah, I think Flutter's the one that's got a lot of momentum behind it, and it's fast. That's the thing I like the most about it is the lightning, not the lightning, the rapid hot reloading. I mean, you got that in Ionic too. When I was going from Ionic back to native, it was like painful, because Ionic was like you have your browser view there. I mean, you weren't able to do the Cordova plugins in it, but you were also able to change something and then like just adjust the CSS and see it just update automatically, live reloading, right? And it was really great. And Flutter does it even better, but it does it on a device. Fist007 says, for your forms, do you use advanced data binding with the model class, or do you use all the fields processing manually? I think the invoice line auto computations. It depends. Like we're using Ionic with Angular, then we did everything dynamically. But if we're using something where we have, most of the times we do. It depends on. A lot of times it depends on the data source that we're using, because ultimately you're so right now we have a client that has a very old. I shouldn't keep saying that, but they have a very old server technology. So they're basically producing JSON, which we're downloading, and we're posting that back end. So it's all going to be a get and a post. And ultimately, that's where we are. And then we could get the get and then store the data in objects and then bind to those objects. But eventually, we have to do a post. And usually, if you just have a form-based thing, we don't really have that much of a case where we need to dynamically update data. So it's not that. Simon Summertime, hey Eric, Happy New Year. Any blockchain on the horizon? Blockchain? It's funny. Nobody's asked me about blockchain in a while. No, I can't think of it. Simon, I need to answer your email. Sorry about it. It's in my inbox. I'm going to get back to you. But no, I haven't thought anything more about blockchain. The only reason I was interested in blockchain was because everybody was talking about blockchain. And then every time I said, so what can you do with blockchain? Nobody would give me a good answer. It always went back to currency. Niraj says, we have created a lot of AR apps with Unity 3D. If you learn Unity AR Foundation, you could create iOS and Android apps. Yeah, that sounds cool, right? Anytime you do something cross-platform, I think every time you do something cross-platform, then you're limiting yourself in terms of what native could do, because if Android supports something and iOS doesn't, might not be part of the plugin or the component, but you still get cross-platform. Where am I? Sorry, I'm making myself laugh. Akil LV says, hi Eric, I'm seeing some game developers who are making $500 to $1,000 with just 1,500 downloads from Play Store. How do they do it? Most are saying they use AdMob/Chartboot ad filtering. Is it safe? I don't know. I don't know what AdMob Chartboot ad filtering is. I don't know what that means. Is it something that it would be safe if you're not? I think if you're not deceiving anybody, then yeah, it should be safe. But just $500 to $1,000 with 1,500 downloads. I don't know how they do it. I mean, you could make that much money from 1,500 downloads if you show a lot of ads and you have a really good user retention, because you'll be able to display more ads as they go through. For the win. Oh, FTW for the win. Thanks, Gordfunk. Americon, thanks for advices. Davis D. Hey, Davis. You're new here. Are you new here? Hey, Eric, one of my app is removed from Google Play. I made this app a long time ago, and now I am not interested in it. Can I leave the app removed? Will this app suddenly become suspended? No, I got lots of apps that are removed. I think it should be fine. I think it's, no, people, I don't think so. I wish I knew for certain, but I'm worried about that too. I have unpublished apps. But I think that the removal means you didn't do anything wrong. They just have to remove it. Sometimes they'll remove it because you haven't done your target audience. Sometimes because you didn't do the you haven't updated anything in a while. Sometimes they'll just decide to remove it, and that's fine. Sometimes they'll remove it for metadata, and then all you have to do is update the metadata. You don't need to resubmit it. So yeah, Davis, I think you'll be fine on that one. But yeah, you should be fine, because what more can you do, right? What can you do? Double remove it, delete your account in order to prevent being suspended? I think you should be fine. Let's see. Lufia says, thanks for the answers. Have a good one. You too. Top 10 Rizesi says, what's your uninstall rates on Google Play? It's about, it's to keep people from uninstalling your app. How to keep people from uninstalling your app? You can't keep people from uninstalling your apps. There's no way to prevent it. The best way to prevent them from uninstalling your apps is to make sure that they see the value in it going forward. So if it's a utility app, then they're gonna think they could use that at some point in the future. And which I think was one of the things that I found. But at some point, they're going to say, I'm not using that anymore. We all do that. We look through the apps on our phone and we think, am I really using that as much as I used to? You know, it's like the Adobe suite, right? It's like I keep it around because I think I'm going to need it. Like Shazam's a good example of one that I keep because I think I might need that one day. But then eventually I get to the point where I'm thinking, dude, I'm never using Shazam. Like I hardly use that thing at all, so I remove it. But yeah, there's like you can't even control the uninstall. So there's like no uninstall event to prevent you from doing like a pop-up saying, "Are you sure you want to uninstall?" Um, Rifat says, Eric, when did you learn Kiyosaki's 4 quadrants, and do you consider yourself doing multiple small businesses at the same? Do you consider yourself doing multiple small businesses at the same time? So the cash flow quadrant again. Okay, so remember you said business books and e-myth. I think the cash flow quadrant was probably the next big one that I did. So I read Rich Dad Poor Dad in 2000. Well, it was a long time ago. You guys don't need to know how long ago it was. I was a young man then. But yeah, the cash flow quadrant was something that I always think about. That's the EBSI. So it's the right. So yeah, the employee, self-employed, business owner, and investor. So a lot of people are employees, so they're employed, and then other people move into. Let's just do it on here. I'll do it on here. I'll be all Ty Lopez and show you guys my whiteboard. I've always wanted to do a whiteboard thing. All right, everybody. So pay attention. I'm only going to say this once. I'll pretend like I made this all up myself. Yeah, you know, like this thing I came up with a while ago. So, like Robert Kiyosaki has the employee, it's called the cash flow quadrant, the business owner, and the investor. So you've got the, you start off, well, no. See, I started off as an employee, so I went to school, got a job, was working, going to work every day, not really, it was low risk, low reward, making just enough money. I heard Les Brown quote this morning. Just enough money so I wouldn't quit, but not enough money, and just enough money so I wouldn't quit. And then at some point I decide I want to work for myself. And most of the time, what people do, they think they're a business owner, but really what they're doing is they're moving into the self-employed, which means they're still doing it. They're still the one doing it, right? And not in many cases, every time I start coding something, and it happens from time to time, I'm thinking, I'm not being a business owner. I'm being this guy. I'm being the self-employed person, right? Because whatever's happening, and the model's not working because I'm the one jumping in there and doing the code, and it kills me inside. So, but ultimately, we want to get to the point where a business owner, the big differentiator there is that a business owner could leave the business for 3 months and it will still keep ticking along. They set up the systems. They've done like what we talked about in the E-Myth Revisited, where they set up the systems where people are still running the business even when you're not there. I consider myself still to be very much here. And eventually, you can move the investor one where you're actually investing in other businesses which are giving you income and you're doing that. So, and what this doesn't take into consideration is the passive stuff. So that might be, maybe that's investment. Yeah, so like with my apps, they bring in money, but it's, but a lot of it is self-employed. I'm selling my time for money, and I still do that to a large extent. But the goal, and the reason when somebody says, why don't you just code it yourself? And I've had clients say, well, yeah, why don't you just code it yourself? Is because, first of all, you couldn't afford me. And second of all, because I want to move into the business one, and that's something. So that was a sequel. So it was Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is a very good book. But it's like if you read any of Robert Kiyosaki's books, you think, dude, this guy has like 4 things to say. He's like a lot of them are very similar, but it's just like kind of reinforcing that. And same with Michael Gerber, his books. Like they're all very similar to each other, right? It's like I got a new book coming out where I say pretty much everything in a different way. But like there's Rich Dad Poor Dad, and the sequel was the Cash Flow Quadrant. And I thought the Cash Flow Quadrant had like a more profound impact on me going forward. But thanks for that, Rafat. Let's see. UK Baz is here. Hey, UK Baz, how's it going? Akil LV says, Eric, I'm seeing some game. Oh, did I do something? The ad filter. I don't know what ad filtering is. Leaping Games is here. Hey, good afternoon. Hey, Leaping Games, glad you make it. Let's see, show. Uh, let's see. Yeah, so Neeraj has his channel, so because um, want to check that out. Mohammed Athletic. Hey Eric, how's it going, Mohammed? Fist 007 says, you still haven't told me how many subs you have from Algeria. I don't know. I don't know how to tell. How do I tell? Let's see. Mohammed says, what language do you need to learn to start making apps? Well, I mean, there's loads of languages you can learn, right? It used to be there was only a couple, and now there's loads. There's loads of frameworks you could use, yeah, I mean, and also there's free resources everywhere that you can learn from. So, so don't you could take a course on Udemy, wait till they're like $10, or you could just find stuff online, right? Just pick up a book and learn it, or it's getting easier and easier every day, right? For me, I came in on the VB days, which VB was kind of like easy to learn. I mean, comparatively. At the time, I thought it was super hard. At the time, I thought VB was super hard. But it turns out it was easy, and then you kind of progress as you go. But I just think that's a question I've answered quite a bit before. But Viro AI says, how much money do you put into market an app on the average? Kindly give us a money ratio between making and marketing an app. I don't do very much. So sometimes I'll put out like some ads, and I'll start really low. So I'll do something like £5 £5 a day, £5 or £10 a day, and just watch that and see how it's going. So like if you have an app and it's much easier if you have an app that's a paid app. If you have a paid app or a free app with a really high converting in-app purchase, then it makes doing ads a lot easier. If you're doing an advertising for a free app, then you have to look for just getting in front of the right people. So it's almost like paying per install. Like if you're going to do a free app, I think what you should do is do a pay per impression, because you just want to get it in front of as many people as possible. If you're doing a paid app, then you want to track those conversions going to pay per install. So I'll say but yeah, I don't spend that much on it. So occasionally I'll do a campaign where I'll be like do a push there. But what you want to do is get to the point where they organically being promoted by Google and by the App Store. Cord Funk says the Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco. I have read that one. I thought that was really good. One of the things that in the Millionaire Fastlane, he talked about the myth of passive income, how everyone's chasing passive income, but it's like it lasts as it lasts, and that was something that got me. When I was thinking about whether or not I should be doing client work at all. Should I even be doing client work? And it was like, actually, yeah. What else am I going to be doing? It's like, I have more control over client work than I do over the passive income. Although the passive income has been very good. I mean, keep putting stuff out there. Duncan Higgins says, "Where's your Ferrari?" You know what? I used to have a Mustang. But I gave it up. It was just too flashy for me. I decided I much prefer the Ford EcoSport. Ooh, it's too soon. Oh, the scars are still fresh. Oh, I don't have a Ferrari. I did have a Mustang, which is it was nice for me, but I got rid of it last year. Because it was 2019. 2019 beat me up. It chewed me up and spit me out. Akil LV says, hope we do Google. Hope we both do Google search regarding that question, ad filtering. Even though I am not jealous of developers making more money than me, I am envying them. No, anytime you see somebody do something better than you, you should find out what they're doing. Like I look at other app developers and think, what are they doing there? How's that? How are they getting that to work? Does that work? Oh, let me show you guys something here. My son sent this to me. Let's see what let me open up Finder. God, Finder sucks. Let's see. And I tried to search for this app, but I couldn't find it. But my son's always on Reddit and shows me this kind of stuff. He sent me this app, this screenshot here of somebody who called their app name 1+1 million installs top developer control, right? And I tried to search for this app to see if it was an actual real thing, and I couldn't find it. But like a lot of times you see this stuff, like so every time you see somebody who does something, you think, I wonder if that works. I wonder if that would work to do that. And this is deceptive. I mean, whether if it ever was on the Play Store, I would hope it be removed, and maybe it has been removed. But I saw this, and he sent this to me because it looked funny. It looks legitimate to me. But yeah, it's one of the things that there's nothing wrong with trying to duplicate what other developers are doing. The same way, I'm sure every actor who became an actor looked at better actors and think, how are they doing that? And a lot of imitation before they adopted their own style. I look at other people on YouTube and think, like I look at people like like they started way later than me, have way more subscribers than me. Like, what am I not doing right? Maybe I should do some collabs. Maybe I should do. Am I not using tags right? Am I not doing whatever? But you learn by watching other people. Saruti says, I am searching for pro help in my ads to my new app. Do you have some advice? It depends on what you're doing. So if you're going to do ads, if you're going to do something, Saruti, the one thing I can say, and I found this through practice, through myself and for clients, is that your ad shouldn't just say download the app or download our app because it's cool or you really like it. If you go on if you do like a Facebook ad, and you're like targeting certain like your target users, if you can get them to like and comment on it. So if you ask them a question, like what would so for the Vietnamese, so we did one on Vietnamese bubble bath, and we didn't just do learn Vietnamese. That's what we did initially. It didn't really work very well. Nobody's like, I want to learn Vietnamese. But I started thinking my target audience maybe is not people like the general public. My target audience is parents of kids, parents who are Vietnamese and they have kids that they want to learn it. So maybe they migrated, or their kids grew up not speaking their native language. So we started asking a question like, in the next 5 seconds, what's the Vietnamese word for cinema, right? That was it. Put it in the comments, right? And we started to get like responses to it. So it wasn't just like I was paying for impression. It started to spread organically. It got more eyeballs to it because they were sharing and liking and commenting, and it was giving value to that post, right? Which is what Facebook wants to do. That would be the one bit of advice that I would give on that, Saruti, if you're still here. I know I'm a bit late on this kind of stuff, so it's a service app, kind of Uber. Yeah, I think that would be, so if it's a service app, you have to think about your target users. Like if you use something with your target users on, so if it was Uber, for example, let's say we've never heard of Uber. All right, this is as an intellectual exercise. Let's do this, because I don't know how we do it either. Let's say we came out with Uber and nobody knew what it was. It didn't exist. How would we get it out in front of people? And we had no budget. Let's say we had no budget. It was a really cool tool, and we just needed to get it in front of people. What would we do? It'd be very easy to say we have a budget. We have like a small marketing budget. Let's say 10 quid a day to start with, right? How could we reach out to people? Would we determine who our target users are, and what would those target users be? What would be the age demographic? And this would all be guessing to begin with, so we might have to put something out a bit more wide and then like to narrow it in a little bit. And what kind of questions could we ask them? What kind of content could we create? Would we write articles about what's your worst experience with a taxi? How upset are you about the high taxi fees? In this day and age, why is we start writing content like that and try to think about not just say, hey, use our app Uber because it's really cool. We'd be like, we have to point out the problem and why our solution works better than it. And again, this is just, it's academic because I don't know what the app does, but that would be kind of the things that I would think about. Think about how would you describe that to them, and then spend some time just brainstorming it. So like for me, like when I do ads for Overpass, I used to just be like, hey, hire us because it would be cool. But then actually, what I need to do is talk about what could the pain points be? Like what would their previous developers like? And some things are just universal. They're like, are your developers slow to produce? Like, odds are, yes, sometimes, yeah. But what kind of things can we point out there? My prospects is small entrepreneurs in a specific city, the services, waiters, and etc. So if you're in a specific city, I think you should go for Facebook because you could target that. I guess everything you can target on a specific city, but then you can target on who they are and what they do. Unbanned says, "Hey Eric, enjoying the stream so far. Cool, thank you very much. Me too. I'm enjoying it too. Is it too long? Am I too blathering on? Blah blah blah. I notice. I'm gonna drink some coffee. Yeah. So it's the YouTube comment I get all the time is you talk too much, and I'm thinking, God, the live stream. It's true. It's true. I'm the introvert. I'm the one who shouldn't be saying anything. Hey Eric, enjoy the live stream so far. I made a budgeting app, started as a school project, but decided to publish it. It doesn't have any downloads yet, so I would appreciate a shout out. It's called Paygo. Paygo. Let's have a look at Paygo. Peygo. It's a budgeting app. I like it. It's a cool name, but let's take a look at the keyword. But in terms of keywords, let's see. Is it on Google Play? Let's have a quick look at. I need to sit up. Okay, I'm gain some weight. Paygo. Would you like me to write a theme tune for you, Unbanned? It's Paygo. Oh, sorry, I spelled it wrong. Paygo. Paygo. Where did all your pay go? Okay, here's it. Paygo. Is this it? Money Manager and Budgeter. Cool. I like your screenshots. Well, okay, it's all okay. So every time I give my opinion, it's an opinion. Like you need to test things with Google Play. But let's take a look. Money Manager, Budgeter. So yeah, that's a really good. You're using. Is this the right one? Is it Unbound? Just let me know if I'm not looking at the wrong one. But I think the icon would be maybe use a little bit more of the space. But again, use Google Play experiments and try different stuff. If you're not getting any kind of you came out on the 28th of December 2019, 5+ installs. I think the screenshots look really good. Manage your cash flow with different categories. Manage your subscriptions with ease. Light mode, dark mode. So quick access to your credit cards. I think that's more important. That's strong enough. But yeah, you could use like some stock images there in the screenshots. Ever wonder when your money had gone? Paygo. Let's do it. So, okay. So you just wanted a shout out, right? You didn't want me to talk about it. So I won't tell. Let's see. What was I? Duncan Higgins asks, anything you would do differently were you to start all over again? Yes. Yeah, there's loads of things I would do differently. There's certain developers that I would not keep as long as I did. And that's probably the biggest thing. It's me having faith in people. If you're going to put together like a system like where you have other people doing things that they're supposed to be doing, you have to be able to take your hands off the wheel and let them do what they're doing. And then you kind of assume that they're all going to be like you. Like when I as a developer, if I can't figure something out, I don't just say, "Well, I guess I can't figure out what it is." So no, you dig and you dig and you dig and you just and you ask for help when you need it, right? And there's been developers that I've hired that just didn't do anything. They just waited. They just waited for the train crash. And there's been developers that I hired where I ended up spending a lot of money training them, and then had the development company they worked for raise the price. There's I think I've had a lot of bad experiences. I guess learning experiences, I suppose. But I've had good experiences, but there's lots of things I would do. I think off the top of my head, like one thing, I wanted to have trusted this one guy. If you guys ever, it was. But there's a lot of things we're just learning as we go. Even now, this sort of things that just cause me stress. And but yeah, like there's, and I mean, it's like just looking back at it now, it's not like deathbed stuff. Like you always talk the story about when you're on your deathbed, you're thinking, I wish I spent more time with family, and that might happen when I'm there. But there were times where I'd be out and out with the kids, and then I find out that EarSpy was the ads have been disabled. So it was like, I'm out. I'm just out enjoying the day, and then I'll realize I'm losing money. So yeah, pack up your stuff, guys. We gotta go home. I gotta sort this stuff out. That kind of stuff is like. But I suppose any job it would do that too. But yeah, I guess there's a lot of things I would do differently. But mainly it's with the time wasted, right? If you knew everything that was going to work, it's like if you knew everything was going to work, like if everything you worked on would work, then and you had that certainty, then life would be easy. But you don't have that certainty, so you work on some things, they work, some things they don't. So let's see. Fist007 says, for advanced UI components, do you use libraries or do you build your own controls like calendars and schedules? Use libraries. Yeah, use libraries wherever you can. Nero says, what do you think about staying small, like 6 to 10 people in a small company? This way, downsides will be low. If we add unwanted people, it can affect business very fast. I think that's it. I mean, even just adding. I mean, the scary thing for me, like I talked about this a couple of years ago, and before I'd ever hired anybody locally, how terrified I was of it. And I did hire a few people, and I made mistakes, and that's but I think, yeah, there's no reason to be big if you don't need to be big, right? And I don't know very many business owners that are like, they just like to have the numbers. I think everybody wants to make sure that everybody's pulling their own weight. However, if you stay small, it's just difficult small. I mean, I've lost jobs. I've lost some client work because when it came down to that final decision, it was between me and another app developer. They had a bigger company. They had a larger UK presence than me. I have most offshore developers, where I've lost that job because it's all like, it goes back to that if you get hit by a bus question. So, or if you had 6 to 10 people, it wouldn't be that bad. But I think you should, like 37 Signals, who does Basecamp. They did a few books called Getting Real and Rework and stuff like that. They're very big proponents of just have as many people as you need, right? It's all about productivity and production, and I agree with that. So Sarudi, yeah, small entrepreneurs. I think we answered that one. Daval says, Happy New Year, Eric. Happy to hear you. Nice, good to hear from you, Daval. Let's see. Sarudi says, I will use a specific city in my MVP, but thanks for the ideas. No problem. I hope it's helpful. It's very difficult to talk in generalities. Let's see. Chordfunk says, okay, talk about that app. Daval says, unban needs to make more eye-catchy and makes the icon more eye-catchy and more colorful. Yeah, I agree with that. I think, that just needs a bit more colorful. Thomas Haas says, hi, Eric. To get back to on the native or cross-platform mobile framework, if time and money is no issue on a project, have you ever known a project where time and issue is no money? I mean, that's like, it's not a project. If time and money was no issue on a project, would you make the apps in the framework or native? Okay, if time and money was not an issue, I would make them native, right? Because then every time, one of the things when you use a framework is every time there's Google I/O or the WWDC, they announce some new feature and you're like, God, I hope that's in Ionic soon. I hope somebody writes a Cordova plugin for that soon. I hope somebody does a Flutter package for that soon, right? And I hope it could integrate in with it. And so if you were able to do everything native, then yeah, if time and money were no object, but time and money is always an object. Sarudi says, have some advice to hide developers in Texas? Oh, to hire developers in Texas, or hide them in Texas. What are they doing to developers in Texas? You think it's better to hide? Are you saying hide or hire? Hire individuals or companies for the job. Okay, so it's okay. So is it easier? Is it better to hire individuals or companies? I've done both, and if you hire individuals, then you don't have the overhead, right? You don't have them. Like I've hired developers like individually, where I had to manage them myself, and that's kind of I mean, it's challenging because you have to make sure they're doing what they're doing, and you're like the key focus. And if they screw up, it's between you and them. You have to like make sure they do it. And if you're very assertive and very stern, then you can do it. And I'm not that assertive or stern. So, but there's times where I work with developers like individuals, and it's easier because you don't get the overhead. Like I can hire somebody cheaper as an individual than if I go through the management structure and I get I get called all the time from development companies. I'll talk to some. I'm the business development manager for such and such technology. I'm like, dude, I don't want to talk to the business development manager. I want to talk to a developer. If I talk to anybody, like you can't answer any question I have. And sometimes I'll just make up a technology and ask if they do it. Like you do the flubarb. Do you do the flubarb framework? And I'll be like, I'm pretty sure we do. Right? Let me check with our developers. Like it's just just make something up, right? So I like working directly with developers, but if you have an individual, like, and I have a lot of clients come to me, and I've had the same problem myself. Where you have an individual and they just disappear, man. They're just gone, right? They're just like you can't get them all, or they're too busy because they're working on many other jobs. And if you have like that with a company, Shruti, if you have a company, then at least you have someone to go to. Like you're like, dude, this is the last bit of work I'm going to do with you. If you can't get him working, like it is your job to manage that guy's time because it's not his. He's bad at managing his own time. Apparently, you are his manager. You need to make sure he does what he does, right? And if he leaves, that's not my problem. That's your problem. If he goes missing, that's not my problem. That's your problem. And that's one of the big benefits of hiring a company. But you do get the overhead. And if you talk to anybody who's ever hired a developer and have them disappear, like I talked about last week, I had a designer just disappear on me, and it was stressful AF. I can say it with the kids. But it was so stressful. Tom Franson, hey Tom, how's it going? Tom Franson says, hi, I'm just thinking, it's only you on the stream at the moment. Have you thought about doing a stream with someone else? Yeah, I thought about that. It would make more sense. If I ever go back and watch the stream, because in my mind, we're having this big conversation, and to watch it, it's like, dude, that's like embarrassing. It's just me talking. but yeah, does anybody want to be on the live stream with me? We can figure out how to do it. But yeah, that would be cool. I thought about asking. So a couple years ago, I thought I'm going to start interviewing people on the channel, and I only interviewed Steve P. Young. And I thought about getting him back on, maybe not the live stream, but just do like a video with him again, and then maybe this year try to actually do some interviews because everyone's tired of hearing from me. I don't want to talk about AdMob so much. Let's see. Daval says, please tell about your logo, Overpass logo. So it's a bridge. All right, let's just, can you see it? So the logo is, so the old logo I designed myself in Inkscape, actually. I designed the first logo in Inkscape, and I thought it was awesome, right? It's a bridge coming up like that, and you got the two different bits, and then everybody, like even my mom, no, she didn't, but everybody would say, I hate your logo. Your logo's awful. And I'm thinking, I'm just going to stick with it because I like it. And you still see some of the old logos somewhere. And then we ran a whole bunch of different designs, and Sandy, our designer, did a whole bunch of different ones. And people were sending me like design. Like people were like, for free, they're sending, Eric, I hate your design. I'm sending you a new design. It's like, it's like someone buying you a new wardrobe saying, dude, you need to dress better. Right? So it was like, finally, it should. So we did this one. And as soon as I saw it, I thought, yeah, that looks kind of cool, very much like Tron or something. And then somebody said, does it look like a pipe? And I go, I guess it does, but I'm just going to stick with it. So anyway, it's supposed to be the bridge coming over, and it's the overpass because it's an overpass. Let's see, Corfunk says, David DHH has some really good talks on YouTube. He's really smart. He did Ruby on Rails. He's super smart. Fist007 says, for the if you got hit by a bus question, I think it's even bigger for companies. The risk of going bankrupt is the same as you getting hit by a bus, in my honest opinion. Yeah, that's true. Cerruti. Oh yeah, higher. EK says, what happened to the Mustang? It was just like the payments were so high on it. I was doing really well, and then I got the Mustang, and the Mustang, I was like, for the longest time, that was my dream. It was on my vision board for like a decade. I wanted to get a Mustang. I mean, when I was 16, I wanted to get a Mustang. So I thought, I'm making enough money that I could afford to make these payments. Like I could afford to get like a nice car and just be like a grown up for once. Like have the kind of car that I want to have. And I had it for 2 years, and it was kind of cool. It was flashy. I mean, it was flashy for England. I'd go to San Diego, it'd be like sitting everywhere. So I was driving everywhere, and then I started to grow the company a bit and bring on more people, and then last year, like in February, works really started to slow down. I had one client that wasn't going to pay, and it was like I spent so much on this project, and they didn't, they weren't going to pay, and it was like one of those just like to the heart. And I'm trying to keep everybody employed, trying to keep everything going. And in the end, I started looking at this expensive car that I had, and I thought, can I really justify driving around in this car? And and the ship is sinking. So then I thought, okay, so I got rid of the car, which was like, it was a bigger psychological blow than I might like to let on, because it was like that was a symbol to myself that, okay, I'm finally like, I'm a grown up. I'm doing, I've done something good, and I've got something nice. And then in the end, I did have to cut the team. I did have to like go sparse, and I did have to all that kind of stuff. And like I said, and sometimes, like just doing the business, like sometimes my head is just above water, sometimes it's below water, sometimes it's just above water. And I know there's people out there who, like on LinkedIn, says we help businesses do this, and they're like, I can help you get more clients, I can help you do this. I'm like, dude, I just, I'm the one in the ring, I'm the one slugging away, I'm the one doing all this, and you have to make the tough decisions. And it was a tough decision getting rid of the Mustang, but I try to focus on the things I don't miss about the Mustang, which is like now with my Ford EcoSport, which I've only washed once since I've had it, like in the last 9 months or whatever. I've only watched it once. My Ford EcoSport, if like somebody were to door ding me, I don't care. Right? I was like, and when I had the Mustang, every time I'd go somewhere, people would watch, like heads would turn, which was cool. But then I'd have to get out of the car, and I could see them always watching me get out, and I knew they were making a judgment about whether or not I was deserving to be in that cool car. But yeah, so that's what happened. It was just financial. It was just like a tough year. I think it was the economy slowed down because of Brexit and the uncertainty of it. I mean, I honestly believe that. A lot of people who were going to make decisions didn't make decisions on projects, and it's I'm not going to apologize for the fact that you do what you have to do, right? That's why I'd say I'm not pretending to be some successful guy out here. I'm a guy who's just trying to make it work, where I'm trying to build something, and hopefully one day I'll be making these videos and be like, remember back in 2020 when I was just me, right? But we'll see. UD says, you're still UD says, hey Eric, what's your opinion on the CCPA for apps and update about the GDPR? I've watched your previous GDPR and they're interesting. Yeah, I think for me, I haven't looked a whole lot into CPPA because it seemed like the GDPR stuff covered it for me, because I took that seriously. But I haven't. So I haven't actually done any looking into it. Somebody asked me to do a video on it, and I think because I did so much on the GDPR, make sure I had the asking people, is it okay if we show you personalized ads? Like that kind of stuff, and so, but I haven't. But I should probably look into it, because maybe I do have to change something. See, so Cordfunk says, "Yo Eric, yo Cordfunk, you should do more interviews for sure. It'd be really interesting to watch. It would be kind of fun to have somebody else to talk to. I'm so lonely." That would be like so lonely. No, I think it was because I think last year, no, it was 2018. my New Year's resolution is like I want to do one interview a week, and then I was like maybe I'll do one a month. And I did the one with Steve P. Young, and it was hard just organizing it because he's in California. I think he's in San Francisco, and I'm in England, so we had this 8-hour time difference. We had internet connection problems. It was just getting all that stuff arranged, and then I thought, when it's just me, it's just at least I don't have to, it's just if I say something stupid, I'm cool with it. If my hair's messed up, it's cool. I had one video, and I don't think anybody noticed, but I had barbecue sauce on my face, and I didn't realize it till I was because I ate dinner. I came into the office, and I had barbecue, like a splodge of barbecue sauce, and I thought, should I refilm it, wash my face and refilm it? Nah. So I go out there. But it's difficult when you do it with other people. But yeah, it's something I probably should do. It would be a lot more interesting. Hopefully. God, I hope it would be more interesting. Duncan Higgins says, just sent you a contact request on LinkedIn. I hope you're happy to accept it. I am happy to accept any LinkedIn contact request. I'm not very conversant on it. So if you send me a message on LinkedIn, I may or may not get it or respond to it. But yeah, definitely. And the more LinkedIn connections you have, the closer you get to. If somebody's searching for an app developer and you're like a second-degree connection instead of a third-degree connection, you'll show up higher. So yeah, definitely, Duncan. Slap Salmon Davis says, "Hi, Captain. Captain, I like it. What's your strategy when you come up with a new idea and need market research to find out if it is useful?" The only market research I do is just to check to see what's out there and if it exists and who's downloading it and that kind of stuff. So I don't do focus groups or anything like that. I just put stuff out there because, I mean, you can never be 100% certain. So, the best thing you can do is put out there what you want. I mean, there's the classic Steve Jobs quote, like, how are they going to know what they want until I give it to them? It's like you can only be so certain. Let's see. Neeraj says, "Hey, can we discuss or maybe talk on video about how should game developer invest their money?" You can give a UK perspective. I give a Indian perspective. Yeah, maybe. Let's see. The thing is like arranging the time. This is just a scheduling thing. Like 5 o'clock on a Friday, I'm here, so it's easy. In fact, we're approaching 2 hours. Probably should cut it short. You gotta hope. I make it tonight. No pizza tonight. I am making a full-on fry-up. Just me and the boys tonight. So we're gonna have scrambled eggs, sausages, bacon, and toast and beans. And maybe I might fry some tomatoes, but nobody's gonna eat them anyway, so I'm not worried about it. That's gonna be a good old thing. Tom Francis says, Well duo presentation will improve the conversation, give other insights into the topic talked about. Let me know if you want to talk about it. Yeah, I think that might be interesting. Maybe we should have a panel. Davos says, any plans on making educational course like a Flutter React? Not really. I mean, I thought about doing an ASO course this time last year, and no, I think I think I might do. There's a few things in the works. I'm gonna do a newsletter type of thing. So, I mean, I don't have a problem putting something out there. It's just these $2,000 courses. I mean, I wouldn't mind doing a course for like $10 or $20 or something. Something that was reasonable. Because like especially a lot of indie developers, you can't afford to do these really expensive courses. And it bothers me when all these expensive courses are like, you can't afford not to do it, right? That bugs me. Like they try to say that it's going to be like the certainty, try to sell the certainty of it. And the last thing I'm going to talk about today is Rodrigo says you need to do more collaborations. You need to crossbreed so that people find your channel. I know I do. It's just approaching people. That means I have to leave my comfort zone and talk to other people. And I know I should do that, but. Anyway, everybody, I'm going to go home and make some nasty, greasy, it's going to be so good. I'm going to make a huge fry-up. I'm salivating talking about it. But I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. We don't have a video tomorrow or Sunday, but a video will be going out on Monday, and we'll be doing 5 days a week until as long as I can. We're going to do 5 days a week as long as I can. Hopefully we'll get to the point where we get back to 7 days a week. But I really appreciate you guys joining the live stream this week. and following the channel and subscribing and smashing the like button and all that kind of stuff. I really appreciate you guys being here. And I hope you guys have a fantastic 2020, and I hope I do too. Damn it. Have a great weekend. I'll talk to you guys again on Monday for the Overpass Insights and on next Friday for the live stream. See you later. Bye.